Starting. Okay, great. So we are on air and we're live. Going to switch on Q&A. And as you all know, my Q&A is a big problem because it's so small and I cannot resize this window. But I'm sure that'll be fixed within minutes. Okay, so that's Q&A. That's switched on. And just to prove to people at home, because I can't watch the screen all the time, I'm switching on my timer. And in 10 minutes, it's ticking, I will check. Right, so that's Q&A, that's done. Now, I'm supposed to show you videos. Just remember that in 2 weeks' time, I'll be, no, when the next term starts, about a week and a half actually, I'll keep on doing this YouTube stuff, but I'll have to do some lectures in Afrikaans just to balance things out. So I don't go to jail for speaking too much English. So Friday is our video day. I have to show you videos, so I've got a couple. And we're going to start by having a little looky at bubble sort. So this is bubble sort, explained through the universal language of Lego. Okay, right, here we go. Oh, hang on, no, I'm so sorry for people at home. I forgot to switch on screen share. Don't worry, I haven't, I almost forgot, but I haven't. Desktop, yes, good. Screen share, of course, how could I forget that? So there's Q&A, and here we go, oh, where's it now? Here we go, Lego bubble sort. Unfortunately, no sound. I could sing you a little song, but it's only a few minutes, so I may even stop it before it's done. So that's Lego bubble sort. So remember, I told you in class that we don't really want to. I don't really want you to know bubble sort because it's so inefficient. But here we go. It's cute, so let's. It's not that cute. Okay, so the first two are out of order, so they need to be bubbled. Bubble. There we go. Next two are fine. This third and fourth one need. The focus isn't really very nicely well in this. Okay, that's fine. So sauce, bubble those. Those need to be bubbled. What's the guy on top doing? He's just standing there. I guess he's the comparison guy. He compares. He's the comparator. And the ones at the bottom are the exchange operation. They're doing the bubble. Okay, that's fine. So what's the guy on top doing now? Jumping. Oh. Okay. The time it took someone to do the stop frame animation to make bubble sort. You have to admire the kind of dedication. I just wish all of you had the kind of dedication to make this kind of videos in your spare time. Swap, bubble. Oh, this is going to take forever. Halfway? No. Okay, right. There we have to bubble again. So we go back to the array again because we did a bubble, so it can't be sorted yet. So compare, swap. Oh my God, I don't have the patience. Let's just skip forward to the end of this feature film. No, hang on, that seems too far. I want them to do one more bubble. No, why are those guys resting? There we go. They're resting because they think they're done. And this guy does one last check to see if it's all okay. Yes, that's ordered. Thumbs up. Yes, that's sorted. Yes, that's sorted. Yes, that's sorted. Excellent. Now he jumps back. What precipitous. They've taken out their hats. Oh, they're done. Okay, cool. What is he doing now? Oh, okay. So one last pass to check that all the elements are in the right order. There has to be some nice climax to this. Oh my God. Okay, fine. Okay, bye. Okay, excellent. Okay. So that's bubble sorting. You don't need to see that. Okay, but that's a little more frivolous. But we have some nice bubble sorting algorithms, and this one I have to be really careful because there's sound involved, and we know there's feedback. So, and the sound isn't that. It's not a nice song. It's the sound of bubble sort. So let's have a look at that. So we're going to see bubble sort again, but without the Lego. comparison with sound. And as it's bubble sorting, you'll notice that this is the least element down here. This is the least element, so it has the bubble all the way to the bottom. And the top element is already at the top. So let's watch one element. Bubble down, bubble down, bubble down, bubble down, bubble down, bubble down, bubble down. Watching this element. Oh, the sound is not on, is it? Oh, I'm so sorry. So everybody at home can hear the sound, but you guys can't. So beautiful. Okay. Right. So that's what bubble sort looks like with sound. So we've done bubble sort a little bit. You're going to look at the code, but what we have done is insertion sort. Sorry, no. Yeah, insertion sort. So let's hear what it sounds. So I was looking through all these sorting algorithms this morning, trying to find out that actually one that plays a nice, beautiful little tune. But unfortunately, this is the best we can do. So this is insertion sort. Let's make it bigger. And now it's going to insert the green one. Now this one needs to go there. Let's just prepare ourselves. So this one, everyone will have to move up for this one to fit in right here at the start. So almost there. 3 more. Oh, here we go. Almost. Every time there's a comparison, there's a little note. There it goes. Being inserted right up to the correct position. So remember, it's a sort working from left to right to create a sorted array. And for each new element, we insert it backwards to its position. Oh, it's going to take forever. It's only supposed to be 2 minutes, but it's so long. This must be exciting to watch. Let's just skip ahead to the climax. Okay, it's done. Okay, but now, what we are going to do today is to look at a new sorting algorithm called merge sort. We are going to look at merge sort today, and this is merge sort. See if you can figure out what we are going to do. Ooh, patience. Just a second. Let's just finish this. It looks complicated, doesn't it? We're going to have to do this today. What happened there? So that's sorting parts of it. We can see that, I mean, now this part is sorted, and this part seems sorted. Now this stroke, this region is sorted. Beautiful stuff. So that is what we are going to do today. But before we do that, I want to show you one more, which is a lot of sorting algorithms, some of which we haven't seen yet, and which you won't do until next year. But there are tons of sorting algorithms in computer science, and they all have their uses. Some are useless, like bubble sort, but it's a good starting point to teach students about sorting. Now, I'm just going to pause this, because I want to first tell you that we are going to see 9 sorting algorithms, and this is random numbers. It's going to sort in this first part of the video, and we have to watch for the ones that will finish first, because those are the ones we're really interested in. Which ones are fastest? Oh, stop right there. Right, so this is called selection sort, and we haven't done that, and we're not going to do that. Shell sort, insertion sort. So this is one to watch. Does it finish first? This is merge sort. We are going to do that today, so we want to watch that. This is quick sort, which is kind of the best sorting algorithm, and you should watch because it'll probably finish first. Heap sort, my favorite. Cocktail sort, it's almost like bubble sort. In fact, this is bubble sort, and you'll see that it's quite bad. Comb sort is a kind of fancy bubble sort, which is actually not that bad. And cocktail sort is like a double bubble sort, where you bubble up, and then you bubble down again. You bubble up and bubble down. And you'll see that as well. But the ones to keep your eyes on is insertion sort, which we now know, and merge sort, which will come next. And it's got nice music, so. And if it's green, it means it's already sorted. Ah, quick sort's done, merge sort's done, insertion sort's got halfway, and comb sort is also done. Look at insertion sort, look what it's doing. It's doing exactly what we think it does. It inserts elements from the back, sometimes all the way to the front. Oh, bubble sort, you're so far behind. Bubble, 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 bubble. But look at bubble sort, it's actually very clever. It doesn't go all the way, it only goes until the tail, which it knows is already sorted. So this is even a fancy bubble sort. It's not the one we know. Cocktail sort, up and down, sorting. Oh, that's bubble sort. Come on! Okay. Now we're going to sort the element array with just a few different elements. So most are the same. You'll see in the end. Just a few, lots of 2s, lots of 1s, lots of 3s. Quick sort's done. Insertion sort halfway. Oh, that heap sort is fast. Merge sort is done. Bubble sort is not done. Insertion, it's inserting all the way to the front. What do you want? No, it's not that. But it's better than bubble sort and worse than merge sort. So we're doing the worst sorting algorithm. Merge sort is one of the best, and insertion sort is somewhere in between. Okay, I've only watched these first two. Let's see if what the next. Oh, I skipped too far ahead. Sorry. Okay, reversed. So we're sorting an array that's in reverse order. Let's see what quicksort does now. Because many sorting algorithms perform badly if the input is already sorted in some order. And actually we know that that's the worst case for insertion sort. So let's just see what it does. Quicksort's halfway. Quicksort's done. So shell sort, merge sort's done, bubble sort you'll never finish. Actually, bubble sort and insertion sort are going at almost, it's not the same speed, but not too bad. Bubble sort's not going to win. Or is it? I was hoping that bubble sort will actually catch up to insertion sort, but it seems not to. And look at cocktail sort going left, bubble down, bubble up, bubble down, bubble up. Come on, bubble sort, you can still do it. Oh no, you lose. Well, actually, cocktail sort is also doing quite badly. Oh. Okay, now an array that's already almost sorted. And we know if the array is completely sorted, then insertion sort is quite good. So insertion sort should finish early-ish. Okay, so almost sorted. Insertion sort's done. Oh, look at merge sort. Now it's doing bad. Even bubble sort seems faster. Now merge sort's done. Oh, look, heap sort is beautiful. Bubble sort will take forever. Is that the last one? Oh, yeah. No, I'm not going to wait 20 seconds for bubble sort to finish. Selection sort is still going. Okay, excellent. So we kind of have a feeling for how these algorithms perform. But now we have to actually talk about what does the mythical merge sort actually do. Could you figure out what it does from that little picture? Could you figure out what merge sort does? You want to see it again? So it's sort of the first part, and now another chunk. Two chunks. Those two chunks. Those two chunks, and that's halfway. But I'm going to stop because this gives exactly the wrong image of merge sort. No questions yet, and the timer went off, and I'll set the timer again to 10 minutes. 10 minutes already. Okay, right. So, anything else I want to show you? No, these others aren't really interesting. So let's talk about merge sort. And the fact is that that video gives the wrong impression because merge sort, in some sense, does the opposite of what they've shown. They've shown that it starts at the start and does the first little chunk, and then it does the next little chunk and it keeps on doing these chunks until it's done. But that's not what it does. Okay, just got to press that little button. Excellent. So actually, merge sort, as I said, works exactly the other way. It starts with the whole array, and then it does what not Scott. Where was Scott? Scott, were you here on Wednesday? You were here. Okay. But I can't remember if you or if someone else suggested. Let me just switch this little light on. Hang on, just give me a second. Okay, something that you or someone else suggested you do, which is a really good idea and which I kind of tried to downplay because I didn't want to spoil the surprise for you guys. There we go. How many numbers? That's 6. Okay. And so, oh, I see. I see now what the consequence is of having this thing this way around. So I'm just going to turn it the other way. I know I can do this. I just need to figure out how. I just did it a second ago. I do. No, I don't do that. Just give me a sec. Oh, there we go. You do this. Everyone at home can see the roof. And now. Okay. Right, excellent. I thought it was so nice and convenient, but perhaps not. And let's zoom out a little. There we go. Excellent. So we have to talk about merge sort. It does what many algorithms do, which is to break the problem up into smaller parts. But we've already done that. We've done that with insertion sort. We said that to sort the whole array, I'm going to start by sorting that first part, and then I'm going to insert the 2. And to sort this part, I'm going to start by sorting these first 4 numbers and insert the 1. And to sort these 4 numbers, I'm going to insert 3 numbers and insert the 6. I didn't say it that way. What we said instead was start with 1 element array and insert the 3, and then we take the sorted 2 element array and insert the 5. But if you look at it from the other way, we are really breaking the problem into, instead of having to sort n numbers, we sort n minus 1 numbers, and then we just insert the 2. So we have broken the problem up into smaller parts. But then Scott, or someone close to where he's not sitting now, said, why don't we sort the first half and the second half and then it's sorted. And we realized that that couldn't work because that would mean that we would have 3, 4, 5 on that side and 1, 2, 6 on that side. And obviously this is wrong, but even if we swap the sides, we still aren't able to sort the array. So it was a good idea to halve our work. Instead of just diminishing our work with one element, changing our work from n to n minus 1. Scott's idea, I'll call it Scott's idea, even it may not be yours, was to say instead of n elements, I'm going to sort n over 2 elements. And that should be easier. And now I've kind of halved my work. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out to work. It didn't pan out. But we can actually use that idea, and that's exactly what merge sort does. Merge sort says, okay, I just want to add a few numbers because it will be really convenient to sort 8 numbers. And you'll see in a second why. What do I need? 7. There we go. Fine. So what merge sort does is it says, I've got n numbers to sort, but I'd really prefer to do half the work. Divide by 2 is always much better than just subtract 1. So I'm going to take my 8 numbers and I'm going to half the work. I'm going to sort this side of the array first, and then I'm going to sort that side of the array. It doesn't matter how I sort it. I've got many sorting algorithms to choose from. But obviously I'm doing merge sort, so it makes sense to use merge sort itself. So merge sort will say, okay, I've got 4 elements to sort. It's much more convenient if I do half the work. So I'm going to sort the first part, the 8 and the 1, and then I'm going to sort the 2 and the 6. And now we recursively use merge sort again to sort these 2 numbers. But when it's down to 2 numbers, we know we can just use a comparison and a potential swap. And we compare those, and they're also fine. So now I've sorted the first half and the second half of the first part. Unfortunately, now I'm in Scott's position where I've got 2 halves of the array. They're both sorted, but they don't combine to make a totally sorted array. The 8 is down here and the 6 is up here. So merge sort says, okay, well, you've got 2 arrays. They are sorted. I'm going to recombine them into one array that's totally sorted. So I'm going to allocate a new array down here. How am I going to indicate that? I'll indicate using my little pad. So I'm going to allocate a new array that's totally sorted. And I'm going to form this new array by working through these 2 arrays and merging them, which is where the name comes from. So merge sort says, look, they're both sorted, so start at the front and pick the one with the least element. Oh, pick the smallest element. And in this case, I'll be comparing the 1 and the 2, and the 1 is smaller, so it should go first. And then I move on to the 8. Now I compare the 8 and the 2, and the 2 is smallest, so it comes next. Compare the 8 and the 6. The 6 is smallest, so that comes next. No more elements here, so I just add the 8 to my array. And now the first half is totally sorted. So I can actually put that back. And I can turn my attention to the second half of the array. So I've got a 4-element array. It would be really convenient if I could half my work. So divide it into 2 parts, 3 and 4 and 5 and 7. Damn it, already sorted. There we go, 7 and 5. And sort them recursively. So we call merge sort again on itself. Sort this array, and it's only 2 elements. I'm going to compare and swap if necessary. Sort this part, the 5 and the 7 are compare, and I have to do a swap. Now these 2 arrays are sorted. Unfortunately, I'm in Scott's position where they don't necessarily combine to form a sorted array, although in this case they do. But I'm going to repeat my little procedure. I'm going to say, make a new array and merge them. So 3 and 5, 3 is smallest, goes first. 4 and 5, 4 is smallest, goes first. No more elements here, so I can just copy these over. I formed my completely sorted array. And I'm done with this level of recursion. And now I move one step up. And now I've got 2 arrays that are completely sorted, both of them. But together they're not sorted. So I've got to merge them into one big sorted array. So my pad is too small. Well, my pad will fit. Let's do this. I start with the 1 and the 3. I'm going to merge these two arrays. 1 is smaller, so it goes first. Move up to the 2. Compare 2 and 3. 2 is smallest, so it goes first. Move up to the 6. 3 is smallest, so it comes next. Move up to the 4. 4 is smaller, it goes first. Compare 6 and 5. 5 is smaller, it goes first. Compare 6 and 7. 6 is smaller, it goes next. Now I've run out of pads. 7 and 8. 7 goes next, and 8 goes next. And then I've got my completely sorted array. Ta-da! So thank you very much for this scant applause. Merge sort, unlike insertion sort, is recursive. I could actually change insertion sort so it's also written in a recursive way, but that seems like a waste of time because we understand how it works iteratively. But merge sort is a little more complicated. So we start with an arrow we want to sort, divide in 2 parts immediately, sort the one half, sort the other half, don't care how because that's recursion, and then merge the 2 parts into one new array. Oh, my little bell went off. Let's just see if anyone has any questions. No questions, that's beautiful. I bet you no one's watching. These people are all asleep. Oh, well, they'll watch that. Okay. So let's look at the, I think, the slides. So we ended with that slide. The merge sort part of the slides begin with this picture of this guy. His name is John von Neumann. He was actually a mathematician and he did operations research, so maybe what you'd call applied mathematics. He was a real genius. He was really a very, very clever man. Was he the absent-minded one? I forget now. Oh well, he may not, I don't think he was the really absent-minded one, but there was one of these American professors who was extremely absent-minded. I'll tell the story some other time. In any case, John von Neumann worked on one of the first computers called the EDVAC, Electronic Digital something, forgotten the name. But it was one of the first computers. They made it at Princeton, and he developed many of the algorithms we still use in computer science. One of these is merge sort. So he sorted up, and these slides somehow tries to illustrate it, but they tell exactly what story I told. So we have an array we have to sort, so we're going to divide it into 2 halves, recursively sort these halves using merge sort again, but on a smaller array now, and then we have to merge them. So this is the input, this is the sorted part, left-hand side, so the and moved to the front, and had him was. This is the sorted right-hand part, but here's the U that's sorted, yes. And then we simply merge these 2 parts. So I think there's even, they tried to put a video there, but I don't have that. And this is the code, but do I want to look at the code? Well, that's merging. We'll get back to that. Let's look at the code first. So this is the code. I have to sort some array called A, and in this case it's an array of strings, but it could be anything really. And I have to sort the part of the array from low, so from position low, up to, but just before position high. So high is 1 more than the last element I want to sort. It's not the number of elements I want to sort, necessarily. And you'll see that in a second. But here we go. Low is here, so this could be 10, and high is here, so it could be 20. Even though high is 20, it doesn't mean I have to sort 20 elements. So it's not the number of elements, it's just simply the highest index. In fact, the first step of this routine is to calculate the number of elements by subtracting low from high. N is equal to high minus low, so N is the number of elements I have to sort. In this case, 20 minus 10 is equal to 10, so I've got 10 elements here I have to sort. And then it says, if N is less than or equal to 1, just return. If I'm asked to sort an empty part of the array, where low is equal to high, or I have to sort a 1-element array, where high is 1 more than low, so that n is equal to 1, I don't have to do anything. The empty array and the one element array is always sorted. So then this merge sort routine can simply return. Otherwise, I calculate the midpoint by saying it's low plus half the elements. That's the index of the element right in the middle. Then I sort from position low up to, but not including position mid, by calling myself recursively. And I just trust that this will work because that's how recursion works. And I have to sort from element mid up to, but just before element high. So that's the second half I'm sorting. Now I've got two sorted halves, and all I have to do is to merge them into one. And that's actually on the previous slide. That's the whole merge sort. I mean, there's nothing more except for this merging, which I'll show you in a second. But that's all of merge sort. And many of these algorithms work the same way. Many of those advanced algorithms that I obviously can't, well, I can show you if I just press the right button. Okay. But those ones we saw in the comparison slide of the 9 sorting algorithms. Quicksort works this way. Heap sort kind of works this way on a certain level. Disappointingly, it's only a bicycle that passed. I thought it was going to be. So, many of these recursive algorithms work this way, and you've seen recursion before in the first semester, haven't you? Did you completely understand it? Everyone in class says yes. Excellent. Okay. So recursion is a little tricky because you have to tell yourself, I trust myself, I know it'll work, I can call myself recursively. So this sorting, I'm writing this code and I call myself recursively, and I just have to trust that it'll work. Right, let's look at merge, because merge is perhaps the trickiest part of this, algorithm. So I've got two arrays, a left array and a right array, and I want to sort them into one. There is one big downside to merge sort. There is one big downside to merge sort, and that is the following. It's my little pad here. Because to merge these two arrays that were sorted before, I'll just do stuff. Oh, okay. So I've got my two sorted parts, and now I have to merge them. Unfortunately, merge sort cannot merge them in their current array. I can't merge them where they are. I need this extra space on the pad to merge them properly. So to merge an array with 8 elements in total, I need space for another 8 elements. I need double the space. And that's because I can't do it, as we say, in place. That's not true for bubble sort. Bubble sort, you just bubble, and if these two aren't in the right order, you swap them. These two are in the right order, I swap them. And I needed one temporary variable to do the swap, to do the exchange. I put 7 in a special variable, moved the 2 there, and put 7 back. But I only needed that one element space to swap 2 and 7. Insertion sort, the same thing. If I wanted to insert the 4 backwards to its right position, I need to swap it with a 7 first of all. So that needed a temporary space to do the swap. But it's only that one temporary space that I need. With merge sort, I need a whole other array. So my first step with merge sort will be to declare a new array. And in this slide, it's called aux, for auxiliary, extra space, auxiliary space. And it needs to be n big. And currently, n is the number of elements I want to sort. Oops, sorry. Got that by subtracting low from high. Sorry, there we go. So aux is my auxiliary array where I'm going to merge the two elements. Low is the first one I have to sort, the first element in the left half, and mid is the first element in the right half that I need to merge. And then I simply could do this k times. Oh, sorry, n times. N times, I need to pick one of these two and insert it into my new array. So let's skip these two first if statements and just look at this one. Just look at these statements. It says, compare the element at I and j. So I is in the left. I is currently the first element in the left-hand side of the merge array. Okay, a second. So that's, at the moment, that is I, and that is j. Oh, invisible. I think I can make it visible. Okay, it's still quite tricky. I'm just going to switch off this light to see if it works. Okay, excellent. So that's I and that's j, and they start out at low. This is low. I'm going to need a much bigger pad. There is a solution. I will enlarge my pad using the technology of paper. Okay. So that's low. This was my mid, and that's high. And I've sorted the part from low up to just before mid by calling sort recursively from low to mid. And I've sorted this part of the array from mid to just before high by calling sort recursively again. Sort from mid until just before high. So I know that this part is sorted 4, 5, 7, 8. And I know that this part is sorted 1, 2, 6. And all I need to do is to merge them. To merge these two parts. Oh, my little timer has gone off. So, oh no. When will the march for that? Well, that's beautiful that you're here and asking these questions, but it's kind of disrupting my flow. So I'm gonna return to those questions soon, I promise. Max 10 minutes. I'll return to them, I promise. But I just want to finish my beautiful explanation of how merge is going to work. So I start my I there, and it's going to point to the first element in the left array that's not yet been incorporated into orcs. And j is going to point to the first element in my right array that's not in orcs. And they start off at mid and low. And so what does the code tell me to do? It says, and I only keep this part now. Compare j to I. And if j is less than I, so this compare to returns a negative number. So j should actually go first. I'm going to put j into my auxiliary array at position k. K starting at 0, going all the way up to n, 8 in this case. Then I'm going to put j in that position. And I'm also incrementing j. Did you do these post-increment operators in the first semester? Yes, you did. Good. So I'm copying j. I'm selecting j, putting that in orcs, and I'm also advancing j. So let's simulate that on our. Just give me a sec. Right. So I'm going to copy, and I'm physically going to copy it now. I'm going to put 4 in my new orcs array. There we go, and I think I can even zoom in it. There we go. And I'm going to advance j. I'm going to advance j to there. Ah, beautiful. Good. And what's the next step? Oh, well, this is a for loop, so it's going to repeat doing this. It's going to carry on doing this if statement here at the bottom. I'm ignoring those two other if statements because we'll see why in a second. It's going to compare j and I, and if j is less, oh, damn. Why didn't you tell me I made this big mistake? I moved the wrong element. Okay, j wasn't less than I. I was the smaller one. This is bad teaching. I'm going to teaching hell. Okay, let's pretend it's a few minutes back. Let's pretend this was my arrays. Oh, okay, so bad. Oh, okay, right. It's comparing j and I, and j was smaller, so it moved and I moved on. Okay. Oh, you can't even see that. Okay, excellent. So what I've done is I've rearranged the numbers to come out fit with my teaching. What I said. Okay. So I compare j and I was smaller, so that's why I moved it up. Right, and I advanced J. So J is pointing to the 5, I is pointing to the 2, and I repeat my for loop, and let's skip that for now. I compare J and I again, 5 and 2, but 5 is not smaller than 2. So this isn't true. I do this else part of the if statement, which says put the array, the element at position I in A at position K in aux. So I is this one. I put that in the next position, and I advance I. So I is pointing to the 3. So you can see that I and J are... I'm sorry, guys. If only there was some technology available. Okay, so I copied the 2 over, I advanced I, and you can see I is always pointing to the first element in my left array, my left part, and J is always pointing to the first element in my right part. Now, eventually, it might happen, it might very easily happen, that I run out of I's. There's nowhere else for I to point. So now I'm going to do this quite quickly. Compare 3 and 5, but 5 isn't smaller, so 3 has to move up. Advance I. I is pointing to the 4. Compare 5 and 4, but 5 is not smaller, so the 4 will have to move up. Advance I, and it's now pointing to the 6. Compare 5 and 6, but 5 is smaller, so 5 has to move up. And I advance J. Compare 7 and 6, but 7 is not smaller, so the 6 will have to move up. And now I'm in a tricky situation because I is now pointing, it's at the same position as mid. And I've actually exhausted my left-hand array. I is pointing here. And it's equal to mid. It is moved into the second part, the right-hand side of my array. So I have to have a special case to check if I've copied all the elements from the left-hand side. And that's what that first part of the if does. It says, if I has reached mid, then there are no more elements on the left-hand side, so then you always copy over the J. Or, if J has exhausted the right-hand array, it will be pointing to here at high. These two will be equal. So if I is mid, I have to copy from the right-hand side. If J is high, I have to copy from the left-hand side. Oh, this is tricky. What happens if both I is equal to mid and J is equal to high? Say again? Okay, then I'm done because I've copied all the elements, and my for loop will terminate because it only copies n elements. N is the number of elements I have to copy to merge. When I've done with this, I just do the for loop one more time, and that means I do the for loop one more time to copy the aux array back to my A array. Because this aux array is simply auxiliary. It's not the real array I want to sort. I really want to sort A, so I copy all these numbers back to A. You can't see that, but I'll just repeat that motion. That's my aux array. This is my A array. In fact, A still contains all these numbers. I've moved them here, but A still contains the numbers. The left part sorted, the right part sorted, but not combined. Not combined. Combinedly sorted. Jointly sorted. So I've merged them into my aux array, and I copy aux back to A. Okay. Josh, you wanted to ask something? Yes. Ooh, difficult, tricky. Okay. Let's see what happens. Let's do what Josh wants, and then I'll answer the questions on the web. So let me just reconstruct some scenario where they're not completely sorted. No, I want the. I'll do this. I want the 4 there. I'll put the 5 there. Josh wants us to copy immediately. So that's mid. I know you see, Josh, but I want the people at home to see what a big mistake you've made today. Big mistake. Okay, here we go. We're starting our merge. We compare the 1 and the 4. You can't see it now. It's all screwed up. But that's low and that's mid. That's I and that's J. Compare J to I. Oh, it's smaller. It goes first. So put it there. And Josh wants us to immediately copy the 1 back to A. So, and the 4 is lost forever. It's lost. Look, it's drifting around. It doesn't know where to go. It's lost. Okay. So I've lost my 4, and actually now what I do is I'd say, oh, 6 and 1. Well, the one is smaller. Copy that to my org array. Well, back. So no, you have to be really careful, and you do need that extra array. Of course, everything I tell you in this course is a lie. You don't need the extra array. There are really sophisticated ways where you can do merge sort in place, but they're so sophisticated we don't teach that to undergraduates. Not until what we call the initiation into computer science. Yes, okay, indeed. Okay, so there's a comparison, and this actually works out. And next term, conveniently, I haven't finished, so next term I'll revise all the sorting stuff, and we'll talk about how expensive it is. But let's just talk about the questions. Oh, only 3. Me too, Yaku. Okay, me too, Ludwig. Yes, okay, that's done. Alex, say again. Oh, Alex is here. That's great. And Justin, when will the marks for the practical test be online? Yes. So for the practical test which you wrote last week, my head demi is supposed to mark it, but unfortunately he's in Italy, and I have access to the technology, and I will try to mark it this weekend, but I can't guarantee it'll be up next week, but it will be up during next week. Sometime next week I'll put up the practical marks. I know it's more than a week, and I apologize for that. I think technically the university says I should give you feedback within 2 weeks, and I don't promise, but I'll try my best to do that. I want it to be finished as well, not get it over with. So I'll put out the marks for the practical test. That's easy peasy. The project stuff is even easier. Someone has to type in all those paper marks we did yesterday, and I still want to look at some of the code, and we still have to run that through the plagiarism detection as well. But within next week, Justin, and all of you. Josh, do you have an issue?
I have a
question
about that plagiarism thing.
Plagiarism, yes.
Yeah, which pretty much everyone's going to do pretty much the same because he gave us all of that.
Yeah, some, but not all.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of
It's okay, don't panic. I can tell which parts you've written and which parts you haven't. So even though the code may be identical, the comment shouldn't be, for example. I didn't give you comments. I gave you some of the comments, but any comments you've added should be almost unique. Yes. Any other feedback about the project demonstrations? I think this was a pretty easy project, so you may have struggled a little bit to just click what's going on, but if you spend enough time and you realize what the whole thing is about, it should have been quite trivial. But I still think it was fun. I love that little art program. I can play with it for hours. It's amazing what you can do. And some people had absolutely stunning pictures that I would put up on my wall any day. Okay, so I have to stop now because Fahik is getting fidgety. I hate it when students do that. So I'm going to stop now, and I'll see you not on Monday, but a week from Monday when the new term starts. Okay, thanks guys.